Hello everyone, welcome back to Tall Tales Custom Tackles. Today we're going to do a Poplar's color. It's electric shad made by Keitech. We're going to attempt to make the color get as close as we can. See if it'll focus on it. This is pretty much the color. It's like a pearl white on the bottom with a little bit of sparkle. Tell a little bit better in the tail, but the top is a little bit darker color. It's got some black mixed in it, a real small amount of blue, and it's hard to tell, but there's kind of like a brownish copperish looking color. I got a espresso color. I'm going to attempt to just put a little bit of espresso in it and see how close that looks. I got 2.5 cups of plastic here. I got the other cup cooking, but we're going to attempt to make one of the sides now. Let me get my camera set up. You gotta excuse I'm still trying to learn this phone's camera and the way it's set up. My other phone messed up on me last week, so I went from a Galaxy Samsung Galaxy 8 Plus or something like that. I had it for a little while. It's a pretty good phone. It just all of a sudden started messing up. And then it wiped away all my pictures and videos and everything I had stored, so I ended up trading up, getting a different one. This is a iPhone 11 Pro Max or something like that. All right, let's try a 1/8 scoop of that. This is. Alright, sorry about that. Somebody was calling all of a sudden and it turned the video off. Alright, I'm gonna add a little bit of a aluminite. And put 1/8. It's just a little bit thicker powder. See how that looks. Because 2.5 cups, I mean, that's a pretty good little bit. Don't look too bad. Let's see. We'll see. What we can do here. A little bit of EMF white powder. It's like a pearl white liquid. Alright, we'll give that a try. Once you shoot the first little batch, if it don't look right, you can always add to it. And I'm going to add just a little bit of real fine sparkle to it. Just because in the picture it looks like it's got a little bit of sparkle on the bottom half. This one's the easy one. I figured we'd go ahead and try to do the easy one first. If anything, I might have to add a little bit more pearl powder to it, but for right now, that's good. The top one is going to be the one that's going to be a little bit tricky. While this is going, we'll come back. Alright, we've got the next little batch heated up. Now this one, like I say, is going to be a little bit more tricky. The top is almost a bronze brown color, and it's hard to tell by the screen because looking from one screen to another, it's hard to tell. So what I think I'm going to try is to darken Try to get this camera position. I'm gonna try to darken the plastic up with just a couple of drops of black, just to give it more of a darker tint, and then I'll play with the colors. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll try 8 first. Like I say, just to darken the color up a little bit. Don't want it too dark. And 8, I think, is plenty. Just to hold it up a little bit. Because it looks dark, but then you look at the transparency of it. Alright, I'm going to put a little bit of bronze powder in it and see what happens. Try to give it that brownish tint, because you won't know how well that worked until you actually shoot it and then hold it up beside it and compare it. Right there, that actually looks pretty good as far as the bronze color, but once we shoot the first little batch, then we'll be able to fully tell. Alright, trying to see how much. I'm gonna add 1/8 scoop of that for right now. Black, I think I'm gonna go with 1/8 of a scoop. I just don't want to overdo it. Now the blue is real. It ain't as potent, so I'm gonna just do a little bit of blue, 1/2 of 1/8, and see how that blends in. I can always add it. That blue is just enough to give it a little bit of a blue shimmer. I might add a little bit more. Yeah, what I think I'm gonna do is add a little bit more of a different size. You know, just to give it a little cross. 1/2 of that. See how she over there don't look too bad. I think I'm gonna do the same thing with black. I believe. Let's see here. That's 25. 62. Don't want to go too big with it. There it is, go with a 35. Got so many different sizes. Alright. Let's stir this up, give this a try. You know what? I'm satisfied with how that looks. Alright. Let's see what. Need to get them back up to temperature, because I need to add salt to them. So, because these are going in gonna be 5-inch Senkos. So put that one in there, and we'll just do them one at a time, because these cups are a little bit big. All right. Let's see if you can see the. Got the black, got a little bit of blue, a little bit of, I think that'll be close. Like I say, we won't know for sure until we pour the first run. It's gonna take roughly about 5 minutes to get both of these back up to temperature, add salt and pour, so I will see you right back. All right, we got one side heated up, the other one needs about 45 more seconds. And on salt, that's really everybody's preference. For this amount of plastic, 1 scoop, two scoops. I think 2 scoops will be plenty, in my opinion. Some people use a lot more salt. I personally don't see no benefit of just overloading with salt. If I was making these for myself, I honestly wouldn't put no salt. If I did use salt, I would use such a small amount. I mean, yeah, salt weighs it down, makes it heavier, but at the same time, salt deteriorates and makes the plastic a little softer. I mean, as far as easier to break, you know. 1, 2, all right. And you gotta, most of the time after you get through stirring in the salt, you gotta stir it in really good. But you're gonna have to go back to the vacuum chamber, because I mean, it's just, it stirs in a lot of air bubbles. Well, you can see how clumped up the salt is. You got to stir really good, and every few minutes you need to re-stir it. Basically the salt will settle on the bottom, and if you don't re-stir it and keep it, you know, really stirred up on the bottom, all your salt will end up going straight to the bottom, and it just won't turn out as good. And it depends on what kind of plastic you use. This right here is the Bait Plastics brand, which is not a bad plastic. It's a little more bubbly. It has more bubbles, and it floats a little bit. You know, it's not bad. With the weight of your hook, it sinks. Versus Dead On Plastics, now their plastic is really, I mean, their Black Label, it sinks. I mean, it's like a log, it sinks. So if I was making this out of Dead On Plastics, I might have would have used maybe 1 scoop in each, if that. You know, you really don't need it. Alright, I might not have to put this in the vacuum chamber. I mean, other than a few little air bubbles on top, I really don't see that bad of air bubbles right this second, which is great. The ones I do see at the top, we can hit right there. Alright, let's check the temperature on them. Alright, we're gonna throw both of them in there for about 2 minutes to bring them up. Well, I'll go ahead and make it 4 minutes. Alright, we'll come back in 4 minutes. Alright, we got them up to temperature. It's time to see how they gonna look. Hopefully this angle is alright. I tried to get it where you have the best angle. Alright. A little bit in here. Because this mold, this is a new Senko mold. Well, they don't call it a Senko because just a 5-inch stick bait mold, but this thing is a beast. I mean, it's so wide, it's so thick. It's thicker than your standard size mold. For example, you can see right there, this is your standard size thickness, but they make them out of a it's such a thick material. It's, no, I ain't complaining about it. Don't get me wrong, I like it. It's real durable, handles really well. The only downfall with it is that once the mold gets hot, and what I mean, like after a couple, you know, a few runs, once it builds up that temperature, it is so hot that it takes forever for it to cool off. I mean, it's, for example, once you shoot about 3 or 4 runs out of this, it takes you about 30 to 40 minutes for you to cool it down back to room temperature, unless you put it in a refrigerator or something like that. So I mean, it gets so hot you can't even touch it because it's so thick. Once it hits temperature, I mean, it is hot. But while I got you here, I'll show you a couple of new hand pour baits. Got a little 3.5 inch grub style. You know, hand pours, they got a flat bottom, but it's got a neat little look to it. Got that. Got a 6 1/4 is what it's listed, but it's actually 6.5 inches, like a trick worm, shaky tail style bait. You can use it, you know, in multiple different ways. Drop shot with it. Then you got this paddle tail, which is really a neat looking little bait. It's got a rib body. I mean, you can rig this thing up on a jig, drop shot, shaky head, pretty much any way you would like to. I mean, hell, you could wacky rig them if you wanted to. I mean, any way you would like to, but those actually pour really nice, and I kind of like that color. It was something that I was throwing together just to test out the molds, and I mean, it turned out great. All right, I think we waited long enough. Let me try to set this camera up where we can get a good view and see if this is gonna work, or if this is something we got to adjust and play with the colors. All right, I'm probably making you dizzy, but I'm trying to just get where you can see what's going on. Alright. Moment of truth. Do we gotta play with it or not? I don't know. That looks pretty good. I might have to make it a little, well, I don't know. Let's see what we think. I mean, that is pretty dang close. I'm thinking I'm gonna stick with that. And bear in mind, I mean, let me see if I can turn that off. It'll make a difference. I mean, because I know the screen brightness makes a difference. Well, with that light off, you can't see the flake in this one. But you got the blue flake, bottom of the belly. I'm satisfied with it. I mean, I think it's pretty close. This right here looks a little bit darker. I might could add just a touch. Maybe pick another one up just to see. I don't know. I don't want to darken it too much. I could add, I mean, just a small amount, like maybe 2 or 3 more small drops of black, just to get it closer to that. But let me turn the light off again. You can see and it's hard to go by a picture though, but alright. That, and then this right here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go a couple more. I don't want to overdo it, so I'm gonna go with like 3 more drops, and then that's it. I'm not gonna play with it no more. So yeah, I'm satisfied with that. Let me bring a few more out and look at them. And see what you think. There. I think they look pretty good. I gotta make 50 of these, and I'm not gonna make a whole video of you watching me do 50 just because that's just overkill. I'm gonna mix up real quick. I'm gonna heat them back up, add 3 more drops, and then we'll compare them, and then I'll end the video. Alright, I added 4 more drops to it. That'll give it a little bit of darkness, because you ain't got to add much when it comes to black, so you don't want to go overboard with it. I think that'll be a good amount. And it takes a little more pressure. That's why I'm putting it up to my chest and pushing down. It takes a little bit more pressure when you have that added salt. I mean, that salt makes a little bit of a difference. I mean, if you can imagine. I mean, before I make them for a customer though, I also ask how much salt they like, because I mean, not everybody's the same. Some people like heavy salt, which is a ridiculous amount. So if they request extra salt, I'll do double the normal amount. I mean, if they want no salt in it, I don't mind doing it that way. I'll do it with no salt. Especially if it's, you know, if special request, I don't mind doing special requests when it comes to stuff like that, because I want the customer to be happy with it. I want repeat customers, and the only way to get repeat customers is to make sure they're happy, you know. And of course, in reality, you can't make everybody happy, but you can do your best to try to make a paying customer happy with their purchase, you know. I mean, when they're buying a product, just like me, I wouldn't want to pay for a product I'm not satisfied with, you know. So try to give them what they want to the best of your ability. Alright, we fixing to check it. Like I say, I ain't trying to make this video last all day. I just wanted, this customer contacted me. He had actually already bought some other baits, and he contacted me and wanted to know if I could make a couple of custom colors that he liked. And I'll show you the other one. The other one was a perch color made by the same company, Contact. It's actually swim bait colors. Alright, let's see. Oh yeah, I can tell a difference in this one versus the other one. This one is a little bit, I'm talking about just a shade darker, and it matches up a little bit more, especially right there, you can tell. And I gotta really get up on it to see you can see the blue flake. So I'm satisfied with that. All right, we're done with that. We've got that dialed in. I think the customer would be very happy with that. The other one that I done for him, that was a popular color. It's actually made by the same company. I ain't got the picture pulled up. Is a perch pattern. It's got almost like a real dark watermelon back. I'm trying to get the camera to, and it's got real small micro like green and gold flake. The belly had more of a black with a little bit of red and gold mix in the belly, but normal, normal amount of salt. But there's 50 of those, 50 of the it's actually called electric shad, and then the 50 of these, which I really like this color. How I came up with this color, I'm calling it Magic Pumpkin. It's almost like a brown, real brown, but it's got a nice shine to it. But how I came up with that is I was experimenting with some old sprues I had, and I had some sprues of a popular color. It's called Perfection Blue. Perfection Blue Pearl, actually. And I had a bunch of leftover sprues, and I'm like, I wonder what that would look like, because I do a lot of that sometimes, where I'll mix my old sprues up, because you end up, when you pour a laminate, you end up with a lot of sprues. So sometimes I'll remelt them down and see what I get. Well, when I melted it down, that's the color it came out, and I said, wow, that's an awesome color. I went and I actually went fishing with some baits of that color and done really good. And I came back and I just mixed it up, the actual, because it's a laminate color, so I mixed up the Perfection Blue, but all the ingredients in one cup, and it was dead on, spot on, perfect. And so that's one of the colors I offer now, and I mean, I'm very impressed with it. It's a great looking color, and it's actually been doing really well. But anyway, I'm gonna finish up this order. I appreciate y'all for spending a little bit of time with me. Also, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about it. I think we're still planning on doing a drawing once we hit 25 subscribers, because it's a new channel. I think it's a couple months we've been running it now. Slow start, there's millions of YouTube channels out there, so it's slow start. But yeah, give it a share, give it a like. Check out our Facebook page, Tall Tales Custom Tackles. Check us out, give us a like. Maybe order a bait. I mean, you might find something you like. Shoot me a message, see what we can do for you. But anyway, back on the topic. Once we hit 25 subscribers, we will be doing a drawing. Random, you can mix it up. We got a lot of molds. I'm thinking I'm gonna do a 25 bait giveaway on the first 25 people. What we'll do is, out of the 25 subscribers, we will do a random, we'll use one of them random apps or whatever to randomly pick one lucky person out of 25, and we'll send them 25 of our baits. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.